How you do with the sneeze zips there? I was just thinking, boy, it's been a wild day today. Let me tell you, there's been a lot of stuff going back and forth. Everything's getting so crazy, but everything's good now. Everything's good. But I'm like watching. I've been watching lately on TV that show, Deal or No Deal, with what's his name, Howie Mandel. Let me tell you a little story about that guy. Okay, in the '80s, like I left Another Pretty Face for a little while because things were getting really crazy, and I was a mess. So, and then I didn't do anything for a couple of years because I had just signed a publishing. Well, I had signed a publishing deal with Famous Music, and they gave me like a whole big bunch of money. And so I just sat on my ass waiting to see what would come along, and nothing came along. And finally, I was like, you know what, you got to get a job. So I got a job at this vintage clothing store down in the village. It was on South Broadway, right by Bleecker Street, right where Bleecker Street hits it. It was called Unique Clothing, and it was like the coolest place in New York. Hello, otherwise I wouldn't have worked there. What can I tell you? But it was like, so a lot of like celebrities used to come in there because it was like one of the coolest places in New York. And I mean, like Daryl Hannah came in there. You remember her? She was in that Mermaid and Splash, and she was so beautiful. She was even prettier in person than she was, because I didn't really think she was all that cute on the screen, but she looked great in person. And Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, is that guy's name who played Chaplin? And they thought he would get an Academy Award, and then he got arrested and put in jail like a million times and had to go to rehab and stuff. Yeah, he lived in an apartment right upstairs from the store. So he used to. Well, actually, I used to see him getting out of cabs. Like the store would open at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'd just see him coming home and getting out of cabs and like falling down on the sidewalk and stuff like that. Yeah, that was really great. But then we had like Anthony Michael Hall. Do you remember that little kid? He was in like Pretty in Pink, and then for a while he was on like Saturday Night Live, and now I think he's like being a serious actor or something. But he was a real asshole. He like used to come in there, and like one day I remember I'm like walking out from the warehouse in the back with like a mountain of freaking clothing in my arms to put on racks, and this freaking douchebag comes running up an aisle, knocks me in the shoulder, the clothing goes flying everywhere, he turns around and goes I sort of think that was funny. But okay, Deal or No Deal, this is what killed me, is Howie Mandel. I don't know if he was living in New York then or working in I don't, who the fuck knows, who the frick knows. Sorry. Anyway, so he used to come in like on a regular basis, and he like thought that this was like okay, I don't know how to describe this, but he would like come in one day and he would go to the hat department, and now mind you, we had hats, racks and racks, a huge wall full of hats, vintage hats, great stuff. He would come in and like spend 2 hours like gathering up an audience, like this is where he was rehearsing his act or something, screwing around with all these hats, and then they would of course wind up everywhere on the floor, anywhere but where they belonged, and then he would stroll out of the store without buying a damn thing, and we were left to like clean up his mess. And it's like, who the hell does this guy think he is? But then we'd like complain to the owner, Mr. Richard Wallen. Oh, he was such a nice guy, but he was always like, no, the celebrities can do whatever they want when they come in the store, because we want them coming in, because then the customers will go and tell their friends, oh my God, I saw Howie Mandel, or I saw Richard, who was that, Anthony Michael Hall, or whatever, and then it brings more people into the store. Which, yeah, I could understand the PR of that, but gee, what a pain in my butt. Anyway, so yeah, with the stars, we usually have to spoil them to death. It made me sick and make me want to puke. I got to tell you about some of the people I met over at Camellia when I was working over there, Bleecker and Leroy Street. Ooh, yikes, that was another place. But okay, I got to tell. This is one thing I do want to say tonight. Everybody's making videos about livevideo.com and why they're going there and all the great features and blah 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 blah, and I'm sick of it already. So I want to put my 2 cents in about this, and I know I mentioned it like 2 days ago or something, but you know what, there's like been so much going on around here lately with Positive Sue and Paul 1967 UK and and M Harris 1920 and just a whole bunch of you guys, and I'm really realizing YouTube is more than a website to me. Yeah, YouTube has its glitches, but it's not YouTube that I'm in love with. It's the community that has been built out of YouTube, and it's going to take an awful long time to build that kind of thing again over at livevideo.com. And I mean, YouTube is my hometown. That's how I feel about it. And like any hometown, there are the good people, there are the bad people, there are the jerks, there are the nuts. You know, there's a little bit of everything. And I mean, I've been called the village idiot, I've been called the town drunk, and quite frankly, I've been called a lot worse than that. And you know, everybody has their opinion, and I don't care. The point of the matter is, until my rent really goes up or whatever in this little town of mine called YouTube, I'm staying here because this is where my buds are, and I love this place, and I love you guys. Wow! Thanks for enriching my life, and thanks for everything that's going on right now. Because wow, this is going to be an incredible year. All right, and I can't wait to join it with you. I told you it was going to be a bumpy ride, and it will. But man, buckle your seatbelt. Here we go. Thank you.